everyone, and welcome to Cat's Corner. My name is Kayla, and today we are going to be learning about stage directions, and then we will also learn how to play a game that uses stage directions. Now, stage directions are something that are pretty unique to the theater world. It is how you learn where you go on the stage when you're performing or doing anything kind of theater related where you're facing an audience. It's not necessarily connected to mental health itself, but therapy isn't always based in mental health. There are lots of other kinds of therapy too. So learning about stage directions is what I call a skill builder, right? You're actually learning a physical and cognitive skill that you could use in your daily life or in other activities. So one of my favorite internships that I ever had was working at a children's therapy clinic that involved occupational therapy, physical therapy, and speech-language pathology. And at that clinic, I helped to run a social skills group. And a social skills group had a bunch of different kids in it with all sorts of different needs, but we would meet together to work on those core skills, things like knowing your directions, communicating with others, working as a team, listening, following instructions, all of those things that are really, really important to thriving in the school environment and at home and all that kind of stuff. So one of the first things that I would do with them when we met and started learning about theater and drama therapy was play games that involved stage directions. It gave them something concrete to work on, and then we had a common language that we could use. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So on your stage, we're going to kind of morph everything to fit around the idea of being on a stage. If you're standing on a stage and you're looking out at an audience, those are going to be your stage directions. Stage directions are always based on the actor. So if I'm standing on the stage and looking at the audience, my left is stage left. My right is stage right. Then the very middle of the stage is what we call center stage. Pretty self-explanatory. There are two other general directions. There is upstage and downstage. Again, we're imagining that I'm looking out at an audience. So stage left and stage right make pretty easy sense, but a lot of people get upstage and downstage confused. Totally understandable. An easy way to remember it is if we look at the history of why they are called upstage and downstage. So a long time ago, think back to Shakespeare time, even before that, stages weren't actually flat like we see them today. We actually flipped it. Stages used to be what is called raked. A raked stage sits at an angle. Now we kind of do the opposite where stages are flat and the audience itself is raked, right? It goes up at an angle. You've probably seen that at the movies or if you've ever been in a theater. But actors were on this inclined stage, right? So if they're standing in the middle, they would have to back up on this incline. That would be upstage. You're backing up. Or they would have to go down, I think about like walking downstairs, walk down the incline to go downstage. So always think back up to get upstage and walk down to get downstage. So those are going to be our general directions, and I'm going to show them to you on a chart so that we can kind of visualize this. So when you're doing this with kiddos, this game and stage directions activities in general work really well for about ages 5 or 6 all the way up to 10, 11, 12, depending on how competitive they want to get and how into kind of these concepts they are. Older kids will obviously pick it up a lot faster than younger kids, but they're great skill builders all around. So I always think that it's easiest to think about these things if you have a concrete example. So what I will often do is I will tape out a large rectangle to serve as our stage on the floor. Painter's tape or masking tape works really well. If you're outside and you have a driveway, sidewalk chalk also works really well. So you'll draw out a big rectangle. That's step one. So I'm going to do that on my diagram. All right, here's our big old stage, our big rectangle. So now we're going to break it down into its 3 core sections: stage left, center stage, and stage right. In our diagram, it's important to know, however, where the audience is, right? Because everything is in relation to the audience. So put our audience down here. So the first category that I'm going to draw out is stage left. All right. So I drew in our left category. You'll see I just abbreviated it. So this is up left, this is center left, and this is down left. Pretty simple, and each layer is going to have those same three. So now we're going to move on to center. All right. So if we look at our center, we have up center, regular old center, and then downstage center. So the last thing we're going to do is show stage right. All right, we got upstage right, center right, and downstage right. So when we're looking at our stage, something that I think is really important for a lot of kids is before you jump right into the game, you want to do a warm-up, right? They need to be exposed to these concepts and to practice them, because that's how we build skills, is practicing. So a great way to warm up is doing kind of like a Simon Says type activity where you, the facilitator, might stand in the audience and you call out a stage direction. So you say, upstage left, and then see if everyone can make it to upstage left or help each other. Or you might say downstage center, and then see if everyone can make it. For little kids, what I like to do is I like to build using big concepts. So I'll start with only stage left, center, and stage right. So then I might say, run stage left, walk stage right like an octopus, hop to center stage, right? So they'll follow all those and they'll get those three. Then I added upstage and downstage once they seem like they're really solid. So then I'll say, waddle like a penguin upstage and act like a dragon and run downstage. And then once those seem solid, then you can start combining them to get a little more complicated, right? So you could say, you know where stage left is, and you know where upstage is. So where do you think upstage left would be? And they kind of get to do that processing and piece it together and kind of learn where the more complicated areas are as well. So once you've practiced that a bit and they kind of got some energy out, they feel connected, then you're ready to play my absolute favorite game, which is Stage Directions 4 Corners. The first time I played this was at the roller skating rink. You might have done it at an ice skating rink as well. But the basic foundation is pretty simple. When the music stops, you're going to need a speaker or a phone. When the music stops, you find a corner. And then you draw that corner. You draw a random corner out of a hat or a cup. And then if that gets called, then that corner is out. So what I like to do to set up, you're going to make your stage, either, draw it out or use tape, and then make sure everyone knows where upstage left, upstage right, downstage left, and downstage right are. I pull out a speaker connected to my phone, and I play some kid-friendly music, and I tell them that when the music is playing, they can dance their hearts out, as long as they're in the stage. So they can be all crazy and goofy and dance everywhere and go up and down, and as long as they keep their hands to themselves, they're doing great. And then, when the music stops, just like in musical chairs, they have to find a corner to go stand in. So they have to stand in one of the corners. Then I take these 4 stage directions and I write them down on a piece of paper. I have them in a cup. I'll draw one out randomly, read it off, make sure that the people in that corner know that their corner was called. But then instead of just having them be out and having them sit out, which is boring for most kids, right? And we're trying to build good sportsmanship, I tell them that if their corner is out, then they go to center stage. And for the rest of the game, their job is to stand in center stage, and when the music is playing, they still get to dance all crazy and move around and interact with everyone, but then when it stops, they just go to center. So that way you know who is left on the outside, but everyone is still participating and gets to have fun in the middle. So that's kind of the gist of that game. You play until there's only 1, maybe 2 people left if there's a tie, and then you start a brand new round and have people do it again. I have played this, kids love this game. I have played this maybe 10 or 15 rounds before they got bored, if you can keep it up and, change up the music and let them have fun. But while they're doing that, they also build essential skills, such as being able to tell apart opposites. So is this my left and my right, my up and my down? Listening to instructions and to each other, following those instructions, so making sure that they're doing what they're supposed to. And then that cognitive processing of, when I say upstage left, do they know where they are in the stage? Do they know that they're upstage left? Can they figure that out? And then finally, that collaboration, right? That they get to dance together, they get to interact, that sportsmanship that comes from, yeah, my corner got out, but I still get to be in the middle and dance and have fun as well. Those are essential skills to build for school and for home and really for all of life. So, I hope that you enjoyed this video about stage directions, and I hope that you will play stage directions for corners and let me know how it went. If your kids liked it, if it was something that they thought was really fun and energetic, or if you used it during quarantine to bust some boredom. Thank you for watching Cat's Corner, and I hope to talk to you all soon.